Welcome to Foundation of Freedom, where we talk about healing through wisdom, discipline, and obedience. I created this space to celebrate real healing, not hype, not perfection, but freedom that comes from applying what really works. I didn't invent healing. I just help name what is often hidden but essential. So it can be applied intentionally and guarded over time. And this month is especially meaningful because January 2026 marks 10 years since I lost 100 pounds and became morbid obesity free. This anniversary reminds me, and I hope reminds you, that freedom is possible and maintainable. So, I want to tell my story. In January 2013, I started my journey of getting the weight off. But the Lord was talking to me way before then, you know? I mean, it was like 10 years before then, even more so before then. He was giving me prompting of, eating a more clean, whole food, lifestyle. The best quality food, but I wasn't even hearing it because it was so convenient to just pick up the processed food, go eat out. It was so much easy and it was so convenient for me, and it um wasn't I didn't know anything outside of that. I didn't know that was my comfort zone, and I wasn't even willing to go outside of it. And maybe you can relate to that. Like, God's giving you the prompting to eat better and healthier, and you're just like, I'm pretty content with what I'm doing right now. I know it's not the best for me health wise, but I look fine. I feel fine. For the most, I look fine, feel fine, but God was still giving me that prompting, and so I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. So I pretty much ignored that prompting, and eventually it caught up to me. So when I was dancing at the time, and I had practiced every day. So I was very active. And when I stopped being as active, that's when the weight came on. And that's when I learned that for me, the weight comes on super fast. It comes on very fast for me. I can easily gain a lot of weight. So in 1 year, I gained 2 pounds a week. And even this year, I got outside of the regular, eating plan too long. And it's taking a mindset shift for me to get back to, my core. And I gained the weight super fast. And so I maintained the weight loss for many years, because 2016 I lost the weight. And it wasn't through extreme path. Well, it wasn't extreme to me, but it was through wisdom. It was through consistency. It was through intentionality. It was through a plan. But I had to remove all distractions. I literally would listen to the reasons why it was good for me to eat the way that I needed to eat. Every day, I had a job where I was sitting at the desk, and on my breaks, I literally would go walk in the parking lot. Every break I will walk because I'm like, I know that I sit at my desk, so I need to move. So it was very, very intentional. Off of work, when I got off of work, I would go to the park and walk, and I would get my rest. I was very, very intentional. In the morning, I made sure that like I said, I was very intentional. I wrote down everything that I was thankful for in my journal. I would go over my goals in the morning. I would play songs and listen to songs that related to my goals. I would listen to books that was related to my goals. Everything was intentional. So I hope you're taking notes, because if we're at the beginning of the year and this is the perfect time to, get focused. Going to my house, there's a park, and I tell you, every single parking lot was packed because everyone is focused. It's like a mountain, Arabian mountain. So everyone is focused, the beginning of the year. So I maintain that weight loss for the 10 years for the most part. It's just that when I start getting into emotional eating, that's the term for it, because of circumstances, I, I got off track, but I learned so many important things along the way. And one of the things that I learned was healing isn't just about getting free, it's about knowing how to stay free. It's about knowing how to stay free and how to return when life shifts. Because when you have transition, you have to be able to know how to return back. I really don't like the mindset of, of people that think that when you mess up, it's all over. Their like game is over. Not if you get back up. Not if you get back up. When you look at because I like gymnastics, when you look at the process that it takes to be a gymnast, you fall a lot in the process, and some of the falls are not like a soft fall. Sometimes you fall on your face, and it's hard falls, but you get back up. You have to get back up, especially when you see them on the beam. Not the beam, yeah, on the beam where they're the skinny beam, and then the bars. Yeah, I mean, a lot of falling happens there, but they get back up. They keep going, even in the middle of a routine. If they fall off the beam, they have to jump back up and keep going, and that is part of it. Knowing how to return when life shifts, when things don't go right. So again, like I said, recently I noticed about 20 pounds returning, and it's not because the principles that I've done stopped working. It's because I stopped doing it because life shifted and my habits loosened. As I celebrate the 10 years of losing the 100 pounds, my hope is this month I'm able to return back to that milestone, And I'm sharing this because healing isn't just about reaching a goal once. It's about returning to freedom again and again and again, and showing that it is possible to get back on track when life shifts. So I'm here for all of the ones that done some great work and then you got off track. Get back on track, keep going, and it's like the foundation. Get back to your foundation. Get back to your foundation. That is why this work matters. Healing foundations aren't fragile. They're repeatable. They allow for us to stand, on the rock, on something that's solid, something that's firm. And many people believe that healing is a one-time event. But lasting healing requires structure, requires discipline, especially when pressure comes. So for me, returning to my 100-pound milestone this month is proof that freedom isn't a single achievement. It's a set of principles that we can return to. What I've seen in my life and in others is that people who heal and stay well often apply the same principles, even if they never had that language for them. So I call these principle healing foundations. I want to share those principles with you. One is leaf for healing, which focus on repairing what's damaged. Fruit for nourishment, which focus on restoring what has been depleted. And water for sustainability, which has to do with guarding what's been healed. Guarding what has been healed. I know it sounds like gardening, but it's guarding, GUARDING, guarding what has been healed. Some people apply these foundations before they ever heard my name, because it's ancient, you know. Leaves, fruit, water, ancient, right at the beginning of time. Read about it in Genesis. So that matters. These foundations matters. And understanding that it's not about me. It's not about me at all. Because healing doesn't start with a program. It really starts with wisdom, application, God. And so we're celebrating healing. That is my whole point right now. Celebrating healing. Whether someone learned the principles on their own or through what I'm sharing, my work, through my book, whatever, it does not matter. As long as healing is taking place. Because the goal isn't for me to get credit. The goal is for freedom. That is the goal, freedom. The goal is wholeness. The goal is making sure that we are good. So I am going to do videos where you hear me share stories. And you will hear declaration of what we have been freed from. And it's not about perfection, but it's about freedom from what has once ruled us, freedom from it. And it's worth celebrating, because freedom isn't about never facing resistance again. It's about knowing how to respond when it shows up. My own journey this month, aiming to return to my 100-pound milestone, is a reminder that freedom is repeatable. And every step forward is worth celebrating. I just want to say a quick disclaimer that healing foundations are wisdom-based lifestyle principles. Each testimony shared reflects their own personal journey. It is not medical advice. So, I encourage everyone to take responsibility for their health and work with qualified professionals as needed. If you have experienced healing recently or years ago and want to share how wisdom changed your life, you are welcome here. Healing doesn't have to be healing. What's essential deserves to be seen. And as I celebrate my 10-year anniversary, my hope this month is to return to a milestone that reminds me and hopefully you that freedom is possible again and again.